This government is taking decisive action to restore order and control at our borders. We've removed nearly 70,000 people who have no right to be here. We're overhauling our asylum system to reduce pull factors, and we've funded more officers to disrupt organised immigration crime with interventions at their highest rate and arrests linked rising by over 55%.
I thank the Minister for his answer and also for visiting my constituency of North Warwickshire and Bedworth recently. My constituents will strongly welcome the fact that the most recent data shows that small boat arrivals are massively down this year. But can the Minister confirm to me that this important progress is just the beginning when it comes to restoring order and control at our borders?
I'm grateful to my honourable friend for her question. When I visited her community, I heard in no uncertain terms on the doorstep just how important this is to people. It's the same for my community and the rest of the country. That's why we're stepping up the international action that we have, including the important new deal with France, but also domestically legislating through our immigration and asylum bill to create the system that I know her constituents wants, which is a fair one, but a firm one.
Chris Philp, Shadow Home Secretary.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Nigerian illegal immigrant Gift Oladele was recently jailed for the brutal rape of a teenage girl. He dragged her into isolated woods, leaving her terrified, and she now has recurrent nightmares. Oladele had committed previous violent sexual offences, and the Home Office, rightly, tried to deport him. Yet an immigration judge allowed him to stay because of Oladele's human rights. He then went on to violently rape a teenage girl. I believe the rights of women and girls to be protected are more important than the supposed human rights of foreign rapists to stay here. So isn't it time to leave the ECHR so all criminals like Oladele can be deported?
Well, let me start by saying I agree that that is an awful case, a truly awful case, and shows just how important it is that we do remove people who commit crimes. We've removed nearly 8,000 foreign offenders since we came to office, but the honourable gentleman's prescription to that problem simply doesn't match up to the solution. Leaving the ECHR will undermine returns agreements that we have around the world. Instead, our contention is that we can improve it. We know already we will legislate to narrow the domestic interpretation, which has sprawled around Article 8. He'll have seen the progress that we've made internationally around Article 3. That's the sensible case, rather than chasing a sugar high that he knows won't work. And the reason we know that to be true, Mr Speaker, is because he didn't do it when he could.
Thanks, Wilkinson, Liberal Democrat spokesperson.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Brexit has seen off a number of Prime Ministers in this country, but as we approach the 10th anniversary of the referendum, the Prime Minister has apparently been given a period of indefinite leave to remain in number 10. Ministers are clearly feeling unusually generous. But are they aware, Mr Speaker, of a report by the Oxford Migration Observatory showing that Brexit is actually a pull factor for dangerous small boat crossings? It is now obvious that this government's one-in, one-out scheme with France is never going to work at the scale required. So will ministers today restate for the official record that Brexit is a large contributor to the small boats crisis, and will they commit to pursuing a new comprehensive asylum deal with the entirety of the EU?
Minister.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. If we're talking anniversaries, I'd like to take this opportunity to wish my fellow class of 2017 intake a happy 9th anniversary today. And our 9th anniversary has been full of Liberal Democrat spokespeople trying to pin every single thing on Brexit. I say to him, these conversations designed just to create division in the country do not serve common aims of making sure that we have a robust asylum system. We can do that through our ordinary collaboration with our neighbours on the continent. I do that frequently. My right honourable friend does that frequently. Look at the action that has delivered with France alone. I think that's the better way forwards.
14 Marpleg, Mr Speaker.
I'm grateful to my honourable friend for his question. The Government committed to new safe and legal routes in the Restoring Order and Control statement, and my right honourable friend, the Home Secretary, announced that the student refugee route will open this autumn with arrivals in autumn 2027. We're working with partners to design new routes to ensure that they're safe and controlled, and we'll provide an update to the House in due course.
Whereas, Mr Speaker, in recent years, families across Cornwall have been offering safe and welcoming homes to Syrian and Afghan refugees through the Community Sponsorship Scheme. Without using the words directly, manana or in due course, can the Minister specify when the Community Sponsorship Scheme will be extended as promised?
Minister.
And I thought the honourable member was my friend, Mr Speaker. But what he says speaks to the innate goodness of the Cornish people, as in my own community, as across the country, whether it's the Syrian scheme, the Afghan scheme, Hong Kong BNO, Homes for Ukraine. The British people have lent in when schemes have been ordered and controlled. We're working with stakeholders at the moment about what that looks like, but I would say to my honourable gentleman that it's crucial to the success of that programme that we do get them right, which is why it does take a little bit longer and it will take us the time to get it right. But I make no apologies for that, and I will say that further details will be set out in due course.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Dr Alice Stahl in my Taunton constituency is doing vital medical work. In normal circumstances, his wife would be allowed to visit him on the appropriate visa, but because she is in Gaza and she would have to travel to Israel or to other cities to give the biometric information, she cannot travel to join him or visit him. Will the government change the rules in the way they did for the Chevening scholars so that people in Gaza can give biometric details in other ways?
Minister.
Oh, I can't speak to that individual case, but I would recognise that in areas of conflict where there aren't visa centres open, that of course leads to challenges. We have taken, I think, quite a pragmatic and flexible approach, not just with students, but also with medical evacuations as well. So if he's able to write to me, my honourable friend, the Minister for Migration and Citizenship, where we will look at that case accordingly.
Come to topicals, Dr Danny Chambers.
Number one, Mr Speaker.
Home Secretary.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I believe that we in this House have a duty to protect the children of this nation, but there can be little doubt that collectively we have failed to keep pace with the changing threats that they face. Nowhere is this more apparent than in the horror of online sexual exploitation and abuse, but we have now begun to change the story. Today we lay down the gauntlet to tech firms. We've told them that they must block nudity on children's phones. We know the tech is there. We know there is a way. The question is, do they have the will? The tech firms now have 3 months. The clock is ticking. If they do not introduce these controls, we will legislate and force them to do so. This is a landmark moment in the protection of children in this country, so may I end by paying tribute to the woman who has pushed for this harder than anyone else, my friend and former colleague in the Home Office, the Honourable Member for Birmingham Yardley. The children of this country will be safer as a result of her work.
Dr Danny Chambers.
Thank you, Mr Speaker, and also pay tribute to the member for Birmingham Yardley for her immense campaigning and work in this area. Could the Minister be more specific about what actions will actually be taken to prevent women and girls becoming victims of AI-generated sexual content? Because this really can ruin lives.
Secretary.
Well, the Honourable Gentleman is absolutely right. It can ruin lives. The Government has already been holding different platforms to account. He will know, of course, of our row with Grok and the action that we forced as a result of that. We are very alive to the online environment and what that means for deepfake images, for nudification apps, all our areas that we have already taken action on. This action today on device-level controls to block nudity for children is a game-changing moment, because it will prevent children from becoming sex offenders before they even know what sex is. It will prevent them from being victims of sextortion, and this is the right way forward.
Laura Kirk-Smith.
Mr Speaker, my local Jewish community does not have a dedicated building to meet and worship in. This means that they're not eligible for the government's expanded support for Jewish communities, which is primarily aimed at these fixed places of worship. I really welcome the government's expanded commitment, and I welcome and I'm grateful for their engagement with me on this. But could I ask the Minister, please, for an update, including on this idea of whether support could be extended to security guards?
Mr Speaker, my honourable friend may be aware that I recently met with a member for Mid Buckinghamshire and the rabbi for South Buckinghamshire. She will know the Jewish Community Protective Security Grant Scheme administered by CST funds security measures such as CCTV, alarms and fencing, which requires a fixed site to install and maintain. However, I fully recognise the fear and concerns raised by mobile Jewish congregations, and we're working closely with CST to understand what more support we can give.
So, Secretary of State, Home Secretary Chris Philp.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. The Police Anti-Racism Commitment, a copy of which I have here, published in March 2025 by the NPCC, asks police to reverse engineer the same arrest rates for different ethnic groups, even though offending rates are different. It expressly calls for different racial groups to be treated differently, saying, and I quote, "People should not treat everyone the same." and, quote, not being colourblind. This is a formal policy requirement for two-tier policing. I've been raising this for over a year and I've never had an answer, including from the Home Secretary last Tuesday. So let's try again. Does she agree that this racist and dangerous policy document should be immediately withdrawn? Yes or no?
Home Secretary.
Mr Speaker, he knows full well that the NPCC, which is independent of government, is rightly reviewing the wording of its policing anti-racism commitment to ensure that there is no ambiguity or suggestion of differential treatment. He speaks from a sedentary position. Let me just say, I've taken more action on preventing differential treatment in the criminal justice system than he or his party ever did.
Chris Philp.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Still no clear answer. Now, moving on, we have repeatedly raised serious concerns with the government's Islamophobia definition. Now, South Wales Police has instructed staff to record anything that goes beyond, quote, legitimate discussion of Islam, even if there is no crime. This could then be disclosed on someone's DBS check. Police officers in South Wales will now have to decide what is or is not legitimate discussion of Islam. No other religion is treated that way in South Wales. This is completely wrong. Parliament has repealed rightly blasphemy laws. Criticising religion is part of free speech. So does the Home Secretary agree that this guidance is wrong and should be immediately scrapped? Let's try a simple yes or no.
Home Secretary.
Well, given that this he represents a party and a former government that didn't take any action at all, either on dealing with hate crimes, anti-Muslim hatred, or other forms of hatred, I'm not going to take any lessons from him. Let me just make very clear from this dispatch box: the police, wherever they are, South Wales or anywhere else, must always police without fear or favour, and we are all and must always be equal before the law.